Greetings, all. I'm Joe White, and you have found your way to A Life in the Arts. And our focus today, uh, Masterwork Foundation gives out community grants every year. And one of our grantees is a flute choir day in New Jersey. And so the two people who head this up are with us today. And we're going to be hearing about what is a flute choir day? Um, Actually, it's this is interesting because I've seen there's a bunch of them around the country now, but yours has been going on for 30 years, which is amazing and cool. Before we get to that, Todd Whitley, our esteemed executive director, is going to do his 30-second take for Masterwork Foundation and what we are all about.
Thank you, Joe. And thank you, Jenny and Elise, for joining us today. The Masterwork Music and Art Foundation has been around for over 60 years, supporting excellence in the arts in a number of ways. And today we do so through three grant opportunities. The first is a Premier Award. It's a $10,000 grant that goes to an artist work. Next, we have community arts grants, and there's smaller level awards that go out to arts organizations or people inspiring excellence in the arts at the community level. And we new this year have an emerging artist award that goes out to an aspiring artist. Masterwork also has this series of Life in the Arts where we like to celebrate the numerous ways that people commit themselves to the arts. So, Jenny and Elise, we're so happy to have you join us today for that.
We're happy to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Okay. Well, so what is a flute choir day?
A flute choir day is a day where everyone can attend that plays the flute, and we have this designed for ages fourth grade or even third grade sometimes they all the way up to adult, and we have an audition only group, but all the rest of the groups, all the rest of the six groups are for anyone to join. And it's basically just as you would have a vocal choir, we have a choir made up of just flutes, so you have a different part, and you can have up to six parts. So we have
Hmm.
an alto flute, a bass flute, a contrabass flute that are involved. So it brings a depth of color to the sound. And so we have six levels, and one for each. I think that's one of your questions later, but we have one for each age group. And we spend the whole day rehearsing the music, and at the end of the day, we play a concert.
Yeah, don't worry about the questions. That's a structure, and we basically we use it as a starting point and then try to ignore it as best we can. Anyway, the so your next event is on March 21st, 2026, and where will this be?
This will be at Caldwell University in Caldwell, New Jersey,
Hmm.
and um, it's open to the public. If anyone can come, the tickets are $10. Anyone that's participating gets two free tickets, and we usually have about 100 flute players that end
Wow.
up playing. And then the finale includes, and this is what we commissioned. We commissioned a composer to write the finale, which involves all 100 flute players to play at once. So
Wow.
we have that one, we have two pieces on the finale. The other one is the Bach Air and G that we play every single year.
Mhm.
Feel free to jump in, Jenny, at any time.
The At any rate, the one thing, congratulations are in order because this will be the 30th anniversary event, and there's an awful lot of things in the arts that don't last nearly that long. My participation in theater unfortunately involved the disassembly of a couple of theater plants, uh, because which burned brightly for a day, and then the money ran out. But I'm really impressed that well, first of all, that speaks to a bunch of people interested in participating, but also it's wonderful that you have an audience and boy, 100 flutes. That's got to be my contact with flutes is flute playing is from actually playing the recorder in not as in elementary school, but as a young adult. Um, and I owned at one point a an alto and a sopranino. They play in the same key, so
Right.
you don't have to relearn fingering.
Right.
Um, but the those and there's lots of good music for that. And so this, you commissioned a piece, and that's wonderful because being a composer in these days isn't an easy life unless you write, for Bruce Springsteen. I just saw that it's the 50th anniversary of Born to Run, uh,
Wow.
which makes me feel really old. But anyway, the because I wasn't young when that came out. But anyway, the so how so what here there is a question here. So how have you persisted this long, and how why has this event, continued and flourished for 30 years?
Can I take this, Elise?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was the brainchild of a very influential flutist in New Jersey. She now is retired and lives in central Pennsylvania, but she's still very active in the flute community. Her name is Virginia Schultz Johnson, and she used to be the professor of flute at Drew University. And
Okay.
she and a good friend of hers, Peggy Schechter, decided to have a day where people could come together and play. And I think even then they had a fairly good turnout
They
of
had
flutists from
80,
around the country
they had
and
80
around the
people.
state. And the key is involving flute teachers from around the area who each
Right.
recommended it to their students. My first involvement with New Jersey Flute Choir Day, I sent some students and then eventually came and helped coach the groups and became gradually more and more involved in it. And I wouldn't miss it for anything. And my students who have come to the event get so much out of it that once they go, they look forward to when the next one's going to be. And they make friends with other flutists that otherwise they wouldn't meet. You know, somebody from Westfield, New Jersey might meet somebody from, you know, far north community or a far south community, and even people from surrounding states. And
Mm,
to have the event in one place where the music is sent out in advance, and the students can work on the music with their teachers privately so that when they come to the day, they're pretty much ready to go. They hit the ground running. We spend the first 45 minutes or so after everybody's checked into their groups doing warm-ups. And we get some fabulous flutists to share their warm up routine. You know, here's how I warm up every day. I play long tones, I play scales. Now let's do something, let's play an interview in intervals and let's tune the intervals. And after everybody's warmed up, we split into our separate groups, and we have a group for like the beginners, and we have a lovely, kind teacher who's very patient and, encourages. Some of them are a little shy. It's their first time coming, but usually after they've done one flute choir day, they're ready to move on. We have like a middle school group, which is, middle schoolers, they're very gregarious, and there's as much time spent kind of chatting as there is playing, but they get a lot out
mm,
of it too. And then the more advanced students get to play more advanced music. And the audition group is quite prestigious, and they have to submit a specific piece in advance. And we used to have auditions in person. These days, we'll usually settle for a recorded audition, but
mm,
to audition for and be accepted into level 5 is a really big deal. And it's something that the students, especially if they start coming as beginners and they see that level 5, and they sound so wonderful, they can aspire to do that someday when they get into high school or college. And then the final group is the adult group, and adult community members, amateur adults, as well as, professionals who want to participate can play in that. And we developed this really strong network of volunteers who come and help coach, help organize everything, hand out name tags, help guide the students where they're going to go. And one of the advantages of having the day at Caldwell University is that a lot of the flute students there, and actually music education students there, volunteer to help. And because they have an intimate knowledge of where all the rooms are, they're really valuable. They know if we need extra
mm.
music stands, they know where they can get them. One of the highlights, especially for the young students, they get to eat lunch in the college cafeteria, and they'll be like, I can have anything I want. I can have salad. I could have spaghetti. I could have, but the big highlight, of
Mhm.
course, is ice cream. And
Yes.
we don't necessarily tell the parents that their children will probably be having a big helping of ice cream at lunch. And then
Okay.
it all culminates with the concert where they get to show off what they've done during the day, and then the finale. And there's something really impressive about having from the very youngest beginning student all the way through. We have students in their 80s or adults in their 80s participating in the adult group, like all
These
ages
guys in their 80s are
together.
still students.
Yes. And
We all
the,
are.
and to have a piece written especially for this occasion, for our 30th anniversary, is just really special. And as you touched on, it's not an easy life to be a composer. You're hoping for commissions to help you, continue to perform your craft. And to have somebody write a piece specifically for our group who understands we need to have a part or parts that are available for young students to play, as well as more
Hmm.
challenging parts for the more accomplished flutists. And we have, as Elise mentioned, we have piccolo, we have C flute, we have alto flute, we have bass flute, we have contrabass flute. I have a friend whose son calls the contrabass flutes the number four flute because it's shaped like a number four. It rests on the ground and then it's so tall that it has to curve around. If you straighten
Hmm.
it out, it would be about 10 feet, I think, of flute, or maybe even more. So we can cover from an octave above the lowest note on the piano all the way up to the highest note on the piano. So basically, we have the range of almost a full orchestra. The contrabass flute doesn't go quite as low as a string bass would go in an orchestra, but pretty close. So
And I was going
with
to say, I
such
don't think I that this is an instrument I don't think I've ever heard.
well, you sort of have to hear it to believe it. When the low flutes come in, you almost feel it rather than hear it because the vibrations. It's kind of like the
Hmm.
lowest pipes on an organ where it's just like vibrations, but it adds such
Diapason, yeah.
depth to the sound. So anyway,
Now
it's
the
very impressive to see all of these flutes coming together, all ages and all sizes of flutes coming together to play a piece. And we've given the composer that we've commissioned his instructions on what we're looking for, and we're looking forward to getting it soon. And thanks so much to the Masterwork Foundation. Your grant is going to enable us to give the composer, what his work is worth for a commission. So we
very
hope
good.
that people will be interested to just come and hear the concert if they've never heard a flute choir. It's a really impressive thing.
Well, I was going to say, in researching for this, I discovered that this isn't the only one, that this has spread around the country, and that's which is delightful. Um, I'm wondering if the contrabass flute. I mean, I'm familiar with there are, I had I played recorder in small groups, and hold on here. We
I
got
just sent a request to share because I have a
yes,
little.
I didn't. I just said you could. But I'm, the bass recorders are also really there you go.
It's got a little
Very
blurry, but it gives you the general idea
right.
of what a contrabass looks like.
Very cool.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, and you had, and Jenny, you said you had some pictures from the previous
Yes.
events, and we'd love to see those. Okay.
So,
Oh, now,
right.
now, which one? Now, okay. So there's the contrabass flute, and then what's the one next? The
The
woman
one
playing.
in the middle, the young woman is playing a bass flute. And you can see
Okay.
some people call that the candy cane flute because it
Right.
curves round because nobody's arms are long enough to reach those keys down there. The bass flute,
Right.
if you straighten it out, would be about, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet long. I've never measured it. And it
Hmm.
sounds a full octave lower than the regular flute.
Hmm.
The boy on the right is playing just a regular concert flute, as are the two girls in the foreground. They're also playing concert flutes. And in
Right.
between the bass flute and the C flute, it would be an alto flute, which is about halfway between. It goes down to the
Hmm.
G below middle C, and that one can be a straight head joint, or it can also be curved like the bass flute. So and I don't have a photo of a piccolo there. Let me see if I can find another one. I'm going to stop sharing this photo. Let me see if I can find another photo. We may not have a piccolo, but people are fairly familiar with that.
Okay. Well. Yeah. Stars and Stripes Forever.
Yeah,
What would that
exactly.
be without a piccolo?
Yep. Let me see. Where's another
I
one?
mean, so flutes have become quite, I'm gonna share one real quick.
Go ahead.
I can see it. Nope, it's not showing it to me. But
I,
flutes have become, people have become quite obsessed with these low flutes and now are now writing flute choir music for just low flute ensembles, where you have the alto flute is the highest flute. And then they also have some pitched in G, like there's a G contra, like, and there's a sub contra that's even bigger. So we don't
Mm,
have those at Flute Choir Day, but the National Flute Convention, you'll see many flute choirs. And I think they performed something that had 15 contras in it. Jenny
oh,
was
well,
there.
actually, on the finale, there was a performance of a piece that had 38 contras in it. They just got them all together. Okay, I've got a
well,
photo.
I'm wondering if has anybody written any works for for solo lower
Oh
flutes?
yes. Oh yes. The
'Cause-
low flute world is a world unto itself. There was an international low flutes festival in Washington, D.C. last spring, and there were many solo um, contrabass flute pieces.
hmm,
The recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award at NFA next year, one of them is going to be a gentleman named Matthias Ziegler, who lives in Austria, and he specializes in contrabass flute. He actually
hmm,
puts a microphone inside the head joint. So it picks up all kinds of very interesting sounds. And he does
hmm,
things with electronics. He loops. He will lay down like an accompaniment track and then improvise on top of it. And so there are people who specialize in performing just on the low flutes. I have a photo of alto flutes to share with you. So
okay,
here you can
right.
see
Hmm.
it's a curved head joint. So the one all the way on in the back with the blonde hair, that's a former student of mine, Belle, and she's playing a bass flute. But then you can see there's a smaller flute on the left, and it's sort of like straight on. You can see, but it's smaller. It has a curved head joint, but
Hmm.
it's not as big as the bass flute. So anyway, uh, there you go. And I
Hmm.
attended the International Low Flutes Festival, and I actually had the opportunity to play a duet. I played
Okay.
piccolo, and my duet partner was playing a double contra, which goes all the way down to the lowest note on the piano. And so the two instruments don't even intersect in the middle. There's like about an octave and a half where the lowest note of the piccolo goes down to the D, an octave and a second above middle C, and the double contra only goes as high as like the G below a middle C. So it was more of a novelty piece, but it certainly illustrated all the possibilities, the possible range of that are available to us as flutists. So
Well, I was going
and
to say that's a challenge for a composer too,
yes.
because of the disparity. The okay, well, so what I one of the I mean the title of this series is A Life in the Arts, and so one of the things we like to talk about is what brought you here. Uh, and I mean we have some people who have very interesting and circumlocutory patterns to get to where they are to their life in the arts. But so what what enamored you with flute playing? Although what enamors anybody with any instrument, but so I don't know. Anybody want to offer? Anybody want to talk?
Elise, you
I'm
want to
sure we
start?
each have a story.
Would
I'll
you want to start,
start.
Elise?
So I mean, I wasn't sure I wanted to be a musician until college. I decided flute, but I was adept at piano as well. But I think flute was one where you're going to play in an ensemble with people, so maybe that's why I chose it. And I
Hmm.
basically ended up eventually moving out to this area to break into the scene, and basically forgot everything and just tried to make it in the scene in New York City. And this my path has kind of it's not your normal path, but one of the things, I became professor at Drew University. I started playing with Uptown Flutes, which Virginia Schultz Johnson started, and that's a flute octet that plays and has we've made. Is this our fifth album we just are working on now, or is it the fourth?
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, and so that group, and then I took over for Ginny, both running Flute Choir Day and Drew University, and then I eventually started the Carter Glennon Center for Arts, that's nonprofit. And my original vision was that artists and nature to combine, because artists can go into nature and rejuvenate and get creative ideas.
Hmm.
And but they also need support. So the original idea was to have artist residencies outside somewhere, but I also want to reach out to marginalized communities, and I want to support artists at every level. So if the start, we have until we have a property and can have artist residencies or doing our programs in whatever location will host us. So there was a high school summer camp for kids from Newark. We took over running Flute Choir Day when it wasn't possible to do it at Drew University anymore. And so the organization, we have a band, Saturday band and orchestra program in Newark called Raise the Roof. And 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 also, so that's, I mean, that's a little bit of my journey, is just wanting to, I love the arts, I think, and all kinds. I want to, and then I want to support artists, both professional and just starting out. And then this, so that culminated this organization that I have
Well,
started in
and
2018.
it sounds like the vision is for an actual property somewhere where, a home just for the
Eventually.
organization. Yes. Okay. And you, Jenny.
Well, I grew up in a musical family. My mother was my first piano teacher. She started teaching me piano when I was 4, but my earliest memory is sitting in the back seat of the car when we went to pick up my father from a flight. He was a pilot in the Air Force, and one of his crew members was also an artist, and he had created a rather contemporary image of a flutist. And I remember sitting in the back seat, and my parents put the art on the seat between me and my sister, and they said, "Don't touch it. It's made out of glass. You might cut your hand." But that image of the flutist, it was like stained glass and steel on a
Mm,
wooden background, has hung in our house everywhere we've ever lived. And I'm pretty sure that seeing that image of the flutist kind of reached me on some conscious level, because I always wanted to play the flute. And when we finally lived in a place where I could get my hands on a flute and start to play, I that's what I knew I wanted to do. So from about the time I was in 8th grade, I knew I wanted to be a musician. And, music is one of those things. I have plenty of students who think they want to major in music, and I say, if you can imagine doing something else, it might be a good idea, because it's really difficult to make a living as a musician. But if you feel like you need music the same way you need air and you need food
mm,
and you need water, then, go for it. And I'm fortunate to have a husband who is not a musician, who, earns a living in the pharmaceutical industry. And so I've been able to pursue music as a career. And I'm one of those people. My teacher from college, Walfred Kujala, who was the piccoloist in the Chicago Symphony, one time he said to me, "So what are you up to these days?" And I said, "Well, I play in this orchestra and I play in that orchestra and I play in that orchestra." And he said, "You're a member of the Freeway Philharmonic." So
okay.
between that and I play in the Uptown Flutes. I'm very fortunate to be a member of that ensemble. And I have a flute and guitar duo, and I have a woodwind quintet. So I have feet equally in chamber music and in orchestral music. And I also have a very full studio of flutists. And I love teaching. I love passing on my love of music to my students and seeing them get excited about what they're doing. So I just count myself as lucky. I get to get up every day and do something I love. And Flute Choir Day is sort of an extension of that. It's like something that my students can participate in, that they always come back from it really fired up and ready to do the next thing. So, you know, that's sort of my story.
Well, I was going to say the thing that I'd like, so how do people find out about participating and also attending this? Where do they go?
You can we do have a Facebook page. I just uploaded the new date. We
Hmm.
have, and the Carter Glennon website. And so those are the two places right now, other than your word of mouth through teachers. We have a mailing list we send out to teachers in the area. But if anyone is interested in getting involved, you can you can reach out to me at elise@carterglennon.org, or you can reach out, we have flutesocietynj@gmail.com. You can email us there. And Right, she put it in the chat.
I just put the Carter Glennon Flute Choir Day web link in the chat.
Okay.
Maybe you can add
And
it.
all of the and what I'll do is try to collect all of these, and they'll be on the cards at the end, so people
Excellent.
can get in touch with you and participate and enjoy what just sounds like an absolutely lovely event. So anyway, thank you very much. And I is Todd may rejoin us, or there he is. Anyway, so welcome back, Todd.
Thank you. Thank you, Elise and Jenny. Today I can say that I learned about the low flute world.
Yes.
How great is that? Right here in the Life in the Arts. But really seriously, more seriously, thank you for, sharing your passion for music with us and your work on the Flute Choir Day. It was truly a pleasure. We look forward to the event next year.
Yes.
And for those viewing this, you can find out more about Masterwork Arts at masterworkarts.org and follow this channel for other interviews on a life in the arts. Thank you, Joe, and thank you, Jenny and Elise.
Thank you
Thank
so
Thank
you
you
much.
so
all.
much. And thank you for your support of the
Yes.
Flute Choir Day Flute Commission.
Yes, we're so honored. Thank you so much.